So we're going to talk about attitudes and its components. We're going to talk about attitude, okay? The components of attitude and its components. All right. So Lance, can you hear me? Can you give me a thumbs up? You can hear me, Lance? All right, you can hear me. If you could kindly turn on your camera, we appreciate it. I'm the only one who can see you, okay? All right. So recap. Let's talk about the self. Hello? Recap, self. That was last week's. So what an individual sees, perceives, and defines. You don't have to take note here. No, no, just recap, okay? So you're talking about the self. And then the dimensions of self, we have, what are 3 dimensions? Physical, which is a soma. Sir, my brother has brought it. Okay. Okay, Lance, okay. So physical, the body, which is also called the soma in Greek. And you have, oh, what is that? You have the psychological, which is the soul, the psyche, all right? And the spiritual, the spirit, and the pneuma, right? That's the term that's given there. And quickly, you have the 4 kinds of self as, what's going on with it? Yes? You wrote something about him? No. I'm talking to Mary. You wrote something about him? Come on. I think we're done with that. No? So we have the choleric, sanguine, phlegmatic, and then melancholic. No, don't take notes here. Okay? It's just a recap of last week. So those are the simplified. By the way, the activity, 3 people haven't submitted yet. So kindly submit. Probably they're not here, right? So most of you have submitted, but 3 haven't submitted. So today, let's talk about attitude and its components. Now, I'll let you know when you begin to take notes. Don't take at length as well, just a little bit, okay? But before I want to tell you a little bit of a story. Might be a little corny, but bear with me, okay? I said, I'm sorry for being corny. So one of my students said, sorry, you're always corny. So yeah, allow me to be corny, right? A tale of 4 personalities. So there were 4 friends named everybody, somebody, anybody, nobody. Have you heard it? Sorry? Not yet. Very good. Yeah. It's my first. Nah. There's an important job to do, and everybody was asked to do it. Everybody was sure that everybody would do it. Anybody would have done it, but nobody did it. Somebody got angry because it was everybody's job. Everybody thought anybody would do it, but nobody realized that anybody wouldn't do it. It ended up that everybody blamed somebody when nobody did what anybody could have done, right? So this is about personality. Pretty cool one, right? So which among these are you? Which among probably we all fall in any of those persons in any area of our life. So this is about our attitude. So we'll talk about attitude. Don't take notes yet. These are quotes of people, right? So this is what somebody said. Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. Hang on. Punzalan and Lord Fred. Just a moment. Hello, Mr. Punzalan and Lord Fred. So that's what Charles Swindoll, he's not a swindler, okay? He's a great preacher, but Charles Swindoll says, so life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react. Probably you've heard this. So it doesn't really matter what happens to us. It does matter, okay? It does matter. What happens to us does matter. But then, how do we respond is what's going to affect us, okay? And attitude determines the altitude of life. Well, it sounds very cliche, but there's truth in that. Your attitude will determine how well this is not in terms of your success as the world sees it. No, how you perceive yourself in your place. Are you contented? Are you satisfied with where you have gone? That's what's going to be determined by your attitude, not compared. The moment you begin to compare with someone, your attitude has taken toll, and then there'll be things you'll see from the other side. Attitude is a little thing that makes a big different, right? That's what Winston Churchill said. Ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what to do. Attitude determines how well you do it, right? So I think there's truth in here. Again, your ability, yes, your ability is there. That's your ability to do it. But there's a saying, between a person who's educated, who knows how to read, and a person who don't know how to read. So the difference between that is a person who's really highly educated, who knows how to read, but don't read, and a person who don't know how to read, who's not educated, they are in the same plane. All right. So your ability is not it could be a winning factor if your attitude works it up, but your ability is not going to determine how you succeed in life if you don't have a good attitude. So that's what it means here. Excellence is not skill; it's an attitude. Excellence. So it's not perfection. We're not talking about perfection. Excellence. What is excellence? Giving your best in what you do. It's not about how well the thing comes out. No, it's your best. All right. So the gauge of how well it's done may differ from people to people. My level of this is good, this is not enough might be different from your way of seeing it. You might be a perfectionist, and I say, no matter how good it is, you might see some fault in it. Right? That's different. But excellence is not skill, it's your attitude, right? And then our attitude towards life. Look at this. This is a very important point here. Our attitude towards life determines life's attitude towards us. How do we view life? And I have it in the next slide, but I want to say this. You will see in the world what you carry in your heart, right? You will see in the world what you carry in your heart. The way you see is a reflection of what's in you. So that's something we can work on. That's the attitude we'll not talk about. So what is attitude? Attitude is a settled way of thinking. Now you can begin to take notes. By the way, Google and everything, the definition is pretty much the same. So the book, what it is, you can find this even in Google, but then you can write this. Attitude is a settled way of thinking and feeling about something, typically reflecting in a person's behavior. That's a very sobering thing. Attitude is a settled way. Settled, you've already made up your mind. The way you want to respond to this lecture, you've already made up your mind. The way you want to come here and how you're going to respond to the things that's going to be done, you've already made up your mind. That's your attitude. So that's a settled way of thinking and your feeling about something. And when you think about something that way, what's going to manifest? Your behavior is automatic. What you see, your persona, again, no matter how hard you try, how well you try to hide your feeling, if you dislike someone, eventually it will show. If you like someone, it will eventually show. So you can't run, you can't hide, okay? All right. Whew. And as I mentioned, attitude is a psychological tendency that is expressed by evaluating a particular entity with some degree of favor or disfavor. So whatever it is, it's your way of evaluating it, right? It's your evaluation. So we are always judging, ever evaluating. Right now, you're sitting here, whether you like it or not, you're passing judgment. Well, your hair, something, something, I don't like it. There's something going on right there. It could be about me, it could be about yourself. You're always passing judgment, all right? And that is going to reflect as your attitude, right, Merrick? Am I right? Yeah. All right. So we can describe attitude as associations between our concept and our evaluation. So you have a concept of something and you evaluate your judgment of something and what manifests out of that. So attitude as it is, as long as it's inside, it's still one thing. But the moment it comes out, that's far more relevant. It becomes a wide open book for everyone to see. Okay, can you see? Is it okay? So it's how someone sees something in a positive or a negative way, in a desirable or undesirable way, or in a favorable or unfavorable way. So that's how you see things. I like it, I don't like it. I favor it, I don't favor it. Those things manifest as your attitude. By the way, that saying, you know my name, you don't know my story, right? The moment somebody comes, somebody new comes, for those who have been together for a long time, a new student comes, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with me or not, you pass judgment. And then you already say, I think that person's like this. You already made up your mind before even knowing the person. So once you get to know the story of the person, it becomes a little different, right? So that's what it is. Your attitude can change with the person once you get to know the person. But then whether you know the person or not, you're already passing judgment. With something, anything that comes your way, you're already passing judgment. Math is hard, is an attitude, you pass judgment. College is going to be hard. I don't like all those things. You're already passing judgment. And that's going to manifest, right? It might be true, though. And attitude helps to guide people's thoughts, judgments, and behavior. Your attitude is what guides you. It's what helps you to guide your thoughts, your judgment, and your behavior, right? And this stems from your experience. Your attitude stems from your experience, what you value, what your beliefs are. Beliefs are another thing. Like, how many of you have heard of that Westboro Baptist Church? Have you heard of that? The church is always protesting. Anything comes up in the U.S., anything comes up, they'll be there with placards. Go to hell. Go to hell. Like that. So those things, your beliefs will lead you astray, right? And your emotions. Emotions. You know, your emotions are a roller coaster. And as I've mentioned this, you are not your emotion. Don't be led or dragged down that what you call spiral of emotion where you're led down to the miry clay where you're wallowing in self-pity, everything. Anyway, that's something we have this doorway to. Sometimes we open it and then we slide down there. One of the things you have to learn to do is to be able to navigate with your emotions. That's a very important thing. Your emotions are a boon, and it can also be cursed. Why? Because once you don't know how to navigate through your emotions, that's going to drag it. It's not real. It's not real. It's your judgment. It's your interpretation. Your emotions are your interpretation of what has been said to you, what's going around, what's happened to you. That's your interpretation. And that is not real yet. All right. In terms of what it affects you on the inside. But once you wallow there, it becomes you. You identify with that long enough, and that becomes a trap for you. All right. No matter how terrible things are on the outside, if your heart that's there is not trapped by anything that has been manifested outside, you're free. You're completely free. So I think it was the father of Vietnam. Who's the father of Vietnam? Is that you may chain me, but then you cannot chain my mind. I'm free as a bird in my mind. That's something we can train ourselves, right? And this is what you don't have to write this, okay? This is what John Maxwell said about attitude. Your attitude, don't write this. Your attitude colors every aspect of your life. It's like the mind's paintbrush. It can paint everything in bright, vibrant colors, creating a masterpiece, or it can make everything dark and dreary. It determines your level of contentment as a person, and it also has an impact on how others interact with you. So some people's personality is just vibrant. Naturally, they are people's magnet. Some are not. But then, how do we respond in terms of our attitude? Whatever personality has been endowed in us, whatever persona we radiate, how do we respond with that? That's what's going to determine in the long run, right? Okay, and the next part is, you can take this, all right? Not necessary, but this is more about our attitude is much like the lens through which we see the world. And this is what I said a while ago. You don't have to write this next one. You will see in the world what you carry in your heart. I forgot who mentioned this. It's anonymous. It's somebody said it's mentioned to someone, attributed to someone, but I don't know who really said it. And this is what I want to say this. A right attitude is the manifestation of divine love in all of its varied expressions. What is the right attitude? We're talking about attitude. What is the right attitude? Wrong attitude is the one I'm going to be pointing out. But the right attitude is a manifestation of divine love in all of its expressions. And what is that? This is divine love in all of its varied expressions. What is this? This is the right attitude. Joy that overflows, peace that subdues, patience that endures, kindness in action, a life of virtue, goodness, a life of goodness. Merrick, everything is a photographic memory. I get, because this will determine your grade, what you submit. I want to see you in action as well, okay? We're talking about attitude, right? Yeah. Amen. No? Boom. Shaka boom. Okay. A life of goodness, faith that prevails, or faithfulness. Your faithfulness, okay? Your faithfulness, your steadfastness, your grit to remain on something. Gentleness of heart and strength of spirit. It simply means self-control. And if you notice, these are the fruit of the Spirit as mentioned in Galatians 5. Okay, so joy that overflows. In the midst of everything, what you're able to flow out of joy. There will be challenges that comes to subdue the joy, but then you have it in your power to release the joy. Peace that subdues. Who can defeat someone who is not moved by anything? Peace, simply. You say anything, you do anything, then just simply unmoved. Cool as a cucumber, no? Just unmoved by anything that's happening in life. And I mentioned this. Offenses will come, you know? Offenses will come. Things wrong, it will be. I'm going to go in a religious mode a little bit. Scripture says this. In this world, you will have tribulations. You will face bad things. But be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. My peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives, do I give to you. What it means is, things will happen. If you allow me to say this, shit happens, okay? I know it's recorded. Life is where it's, we all live in, as Beatles said, we all live in a yellow submarine. What is a yellow submarine? It's the color of whatever you, that one, okay? And they're talking about that one. They're talking about dung. We all live in a world that is full of filth. Things will happen. But we don't have to be sucked into the filth of these things. And what is called for us is to be able to transcend this. Okay, that's the call for all of us. And patience, peace. One of the things about peace is the peace is something that is supposed to guard the rampart, the fortress of your life. Someone who is in peace, it can't be subdued at all. That is what you want in your life. That no matter what happens in your life, it's a peace. And if I have to come from a scriptural perspective, the peace of God that transcends all understanding. It doesn't make any sense, but you're just at peace. It doesn't make any sense. People think, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with me that I'm not moved by any circumstance? If we're always moved by things, then something is wrong. We don't have a strong footing. But if whatever happens to our life, if we're not moved, then that's something we can work. And that's something we can all grow into, right? But the joy that overflows, peace that subdues, patience that endures, kindness in action, a life of virtue, a life of goodness again, faith that prevails, that's faithfulness, gentleness of heart, and strength of spirit. That's self-control and everything. That's the right attitude that we are called to manifest. Good? Okay, dokie. All right, and let's talk about attitude and its the kind of attitude. There are two kinds of attitude. They are explicit and implicit. By the name itself, it's pretty clear enough. Explicit and implicit. And what are those? Explicit attitudes can be perceived consciously and expressed accordingly. You're aware of it. Your attitude, you're aware of what you are doing. Implicit attitudes, however, are thoughts or feelings that conscious awareness does not cover. So, as I mentioned, was it 2 weeks ago or last week? We live our life. We think that we are conscious beings who live our life, ruling our life consciously. Hello, I'm right there with you. Okay, for all of you in the other dimension. But our lives are lived with the 85%, 90%, 95% of the subconscious. We're not aware of it. That's how we live our life. We only live our life with a 5% of consciousness. Every decision we made, most of it is stemmed. Even what we think as a conscious decision stems out of the subconscious that has been there. So that's something. And is it something we can't change? Well, we can train ourselves towards that. That's why the right attitude comes. We don't always have to be reactive to everything. We can train ourselves to respond with patience, with joy, with peace, with love. That's what we can always work that, right? And you don't have to take note of the other. You good? Okay. Right? Okie dokie. Merrick, photographic memory. Huh? All right. So I'm going to move, okay? So it doesn't have to be completely thick. We can say explicit is conscious, your conscious attitude. Implicit is your unconscious attitude. That's fine. Okay, something you're not. Explicit, you're aware. Implicit, you're not aware. All right? Okay, okay. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to post this again, right? It's recorded. And the difference is here. Look at this. So explicit attitudes, implicit attitudes. Attitudes, explicit attitudes are attitudes that are deliberate and conscious attitudes. Those are explicit ones. It's expressed out there. While implicit are automatic. It's something. It's a reflex. It's your fight or flight kind of a mechanism that is inbuilt in you that comes out again. But this is something you can always modify. It's always modifiable, right? The way you somebody says something, you boom, or you go to your corner shell. That's something that can be trained. The next one, explicit. You're aware of explicit attitudes. Implicit, you're not aware of the implicit attitudes. Same thing we've been talking about. Explicit, it's more dynamic, meaning it's very loose in the sense it can be changed. Okay? You can change it, and it can change over time. And implicit, likely to be resistant to change. Why? Because you're not really aware of that. That's something you have to take time to work on it. And something that has been embedded like this. You know this concept, right? You sow a thought, you reap an action, right? Sow a thought, reap an action. You sow an action, you reap a habit. You sow a habit, you reap a character. You sow a character, you reap your destiny. So whatever has been there. If your thought has become your action, it takes time to change it. Like, example, smoking, let's say, right? You're not born smoking, right? You have to actually train yourself to smoke. But once you get hooked to it, and then it takes time. It's very difficult to revert that. But then you can revert it. And you know why I say you can revert it? Okay, this is just for your information, okay? Just to give the effect. I started smoking at the age of 6. I started smoking at the age of 6. By 7 years old, I was hooked to smoking. Okay, I quit smoking at the age of 16. By the time people pick up smoking, I quit smoking, having smoked for 10 years. So you can quit. I picked up really early. It should have been permanent. It's been something, and that affects me. I still have the effect of that long years of early smoking. It still has that effect on me. But then, was it hard? It's not easy at all. Once it's been something, you always have that thing. It reminds you, oh, these are the things. And what I'm saying is, another thing is this: don't get yourself hooked into something you know is going to have a long-term effect, which is going to be permanent, or something's going to damage your life, right? This is something. You are at the age where you want to explore everything. Experience is not always the best teacher. No. Learning from someone's mistake, that's a good experience. That's a good teacher, okay? You don't have to go through someone's mistake to know that that's good and bad. No, you see from someone's mistake and say, okay, I'm not going to do that. That's a wiser way than you going through the experience. You're not going to be deprived of life because you didn't experience something bad. No. You have a better life. You have a more fruitful life knowing from someone's mistake. All right, that's okay. No extra charge for that. Okay, that's my 2 cents. And it's more dynamic and change over time. It's like to be resistant to change, but you can change. It's everything. You may not be as malleable as you were when you were young. By this time, you may have already a certain set of thoughts. You already, this is what I believe, this is what I want. You already have that. Like, this is who I am, that kind of a thing. You already have that set. And it's kind of hard to change that. You can change. I had that set of, I've made up my mind over some things. It changes, all right? It can change. Another one, explicit, it involves direct measurement. Explicit, it involves indirect measurements. Oh, whoa, wait. Okay, not gonna be too much. And then for attitude to come, this is the last one, okay? I can see your eyes already. I know you're tired, right? For attitude to come into existence, it needs 3 components. The 3 components are affect, cognition, and behavior. Affect, cognition. Let's talk about this 3 components, okay? Affect, cognition, and behavior. All right. So here we go. Affect, okay? This affect. What is affect? In psychology, the term is used to represent emotions directed to the self, the environment, and to others. Your emotions, what you feel about the moment is that, example. I'm afraid of spiders. That's your emotion. Spiders. The moment you think of spider, or I don't know, some of you are you don't like holes, right? Some pictures with holes. How many of you are creeped out? I'm creeped out by pictures with too many holes. Are you okay with that? Those things, right? Something builds up. Let's say, let's just talk about spiders now. This is your affect. I am afraid of spiders. It involves a person's feeling, emotions about the attitude or the object, all right? Your emotion is directed to that particular object and the environment, or it could be somebody. I don't like that person, whatever it is, okay? Your dislike effect. And then that's your effect, how it affects you, your emotion. That is still in the emotional level. Now, let's go to the cognition level. You begin to believe in what you are feeling, all right? So we're talking about behavior. It manifests the components, right? This is not about, but your behavior manifests in these 3 aspects. So the way we think, it encompasses our thought in different levels, ranging from ourselves to our environment, from imaginary to perceivable reality. You begin to believe the emotion. I fear, I am afraid of spiders. And then you begin to have a way of thinking, like, you think that all spiders are dangerous, all spiders are deadly. You begin to have those unreasonable ideas about spiders. Now you begin to create scenarios where it's not even real. So that's your cognition level, all right? And then the behavior, the action, form, or manifestation of attitude. Without attitude, affect, and cognition, behavior will be rendered baseless and ungrounded. So your behavior is, because of that, you begin to manifest that out. What will you do? Your behavior says, how you example, I will avoid spiders, I will scream, or in some cases, if I see a spider, I will burn it down. And by the way, in Australia, someone burned down a house. I read that because of spider. They burned down the house because of a spider. See, it's really dangerous. You have that. You begin to have the unreasonable, unrealistic imaginations about what could be. Maybe it'll lay eggs in my body, and then I will. Oh, all of those things comes out, right? And then it manifests. That's behavior, right? Okay, so that's the factors that affect your behavior, right? By the way, that falls under the factors that affect behavior. Okay, I'm sorry. The factors that affect behavior affect cognition and behavior. Oh, wait. These are the three components of attitude. And then I think I'll end here, okay, for the day. So I know I can see your brain is like jelly. It's too much. Now, all right, for those of you, whatever it is, your deadline is right there, okay? For those of you who are here, you have a more relaxed time, relaxed mode for what do you call this? For uploading in Edmodo, right? It's already in Edmodo. So take a picture of your notes and upload, all right? I don't want to see someone else's note, huh, Merrick? It has to be your note, all right? Okay? Do you have any questions? No, no questions, right? And there are two things, something that is equivalent to your quiz, okay? And your quiz is open book, right? I mean, if you take good notes, I'm not going to ask anything outside of you, what is covered. So I'll upload 2 items in Edmodo, accomplish that, okay? This is our short 5 items, 2 5-item activity. All right? Everyone okay? That is going to be accomplished. And then I will give you another entry for your what do you call this? For your journal in Edmodo. Everything in Edmodo. Okay, Lance, Lord Fred, Andrew. Okay, thank you so much. I'm done. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
All right, all right. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, okay. Upload in Zoom, upload in Edmodo.